Good evening, everyone. Switch on your videos.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. So, what were we learning about? What type of attention?
Factors affecting selective attention.
Okay. We were learning about the selective attention. Which were the two main types of attention, Alvina?
Selective and sustained attention.
And sustained attention. And based on the number of stimuli that we attend to, we have one more type. What is it, Meghna?
External.
Hmm?
External.
No. Starting with D. Anybody?
Divided attention.
Divided attention, selective attention, sustained attention, and divided attention. So we have learned about the factors influencing or affecting the selective attention. Now we learn about three basic theories of selective attention. Okay? Yes. Ashish and Sana, please switch on your video. Did you have class now? Any other class?
Yes.
Yes, some of you had computer. Okay, fine. Yes. Theories of selective attention. Before we go into theories, I have to tell you one thing. There are different types of theories of attention. In our textbook, the ones given are about selective attention. Okay. And there are a set of theories known as bottleneck theories. What are they? Bottleneck theories. So in this picture, I hope you can see the slide. Yes or no? Yes, okay. So in this picture, you can see a part of the bottle is given, and when the amount, so many information or so many number of stimuli come in our visual field or in our sensory field, whichever field it may be, like maybe our auditory field, maybe our visual field, or related to the other senses. So numerous sensory inputs come. There are so many inputs from the different sensory modalities, and they when they reach the bottleneck, the bottleneck acts as a filter. The whole material inside the bottle wouldn't come out of the bottle. Yes or no? The whole portion won't pass through the bottleneck. So again, at the bottleneck, the information or the inputs that are coming from the sensations, they are filtered, and only the information that manages to pass out of the bottleneck is attended to. That is, attention depends upon the information which manages to pass from the filter at the bottleneck. Okay, at the bottleneck, there is a filter, and the inputs or the information which manages to pass or which manages to cross that filter, only that information or that input is attended to. Understood? I'll give you an example. Like when you just wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, and there are so many different stimuli in front of you. Yes or no? But you seem to attend to only the things that you want to. So, for example, you might be looking for your bed coffee when you just open your eyes. So, there might be your table lamp there. There might be your textbooks there. There might be your dolls, your toys, or your other accessories, your laptop, your mobile phone. All those things might be lying on the table, on the same table where the bed coffee is kept. But you are looking for the bed coffee, so you will just notice or attend to that particular thing. So the information regarding the bed coffee, the imagine that the information regarding the bed coffee, the phone, the toys, the accessories, the laptop, everything is inside a bottle. Mm? And when I tilt the bottle, then only some information comes out of the bottle. And that information is regarding our bed coffee. Only the bed coffee managed to come out of the bottle. So only that information is attended to. Understood? That is a set of theories called bottleneck theories. And we have the first theory, that is the filter theory. This is one of the famous bottleneck theories. Okay, note down. Filter theory by Broadbent. It is a very classic theory in psychology in terms of attention. And this one belongs to the category of bottleneck theories. Filter theory by Broadbent, 1956. The names and the theory, it is very important, related and learn. 1 mark questions might come from this. Who proposed filter theory? Who proposed filter attenuation theory? Who proposed multimode theory? Those are the 3 theories we have to learn in the section. So filter theory by Broadbent. Broadbent. Please make sure that you write the correct spelling. Broadbent. 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 My video is off. Why didn't you tell? Okay. Yes. So I'll explain what filter theory is. Stimuli are filtered or selected to be attended to at an early stage during processing. A filter can be regarded as the selector of relevant information based on basic features such as color, pitch, or direction of stimuli. As I told you, this is one of the classic bottleneck theories. So again, this is similar to, again my video is off. Why? Just a minute. Okay, fine. Yes. So just as we saw in the picture, here, imagine that here on the bottleneck, you have a filter. And the information, so many information is coming, so many sensory inputs are coming. They are blocked at the filter, and the information that you attend to, that is the information who manages to pass that filter. That is Broadbent's theory. Just the classic bottleneck theory. Okay. So again, stimuli are filtered or selected. So there are so many things inside the bottle, and the ones that we attend to are the ones which is filtered afterwards or which is selected from them, from the whole set. Okay. Since we are studying the theory of selective attention, from the name itself, you can understand. It is filter theory of selective attention, which means there is a filter. That filter filters the whole information and selects some information from that. That information is the one which we attend to. That was the basic concept that Broadbent gave. And filter can be regarded as a selector of relevant information based on basic features such as color, pitch, or direction of stimuli. I told you the information comes from various sensory inputs, right? It can be related to vision, it can be related to the audition, or it can be related to the touch, or whatever it is. We have different senses, and the information comes from different sensory modalities. So for example, it is given color. Maybe the filter may be based on the color. There might be so many blue colored balls and 2 red colored balls. So we'll easily notice the red colored balls among the blue. Is it not? Yes, because the red color that manages to pass the filter. The blue color is blocked there. So you attend to you notice the red ones first. Okay? That is selective attention. Then, so filter theory of selective attention, is that clear? Yes? Ashish, did you understand? Yes?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Somewhat. Should I explain once more?
Yes.
Okay. I'll show you. Wait, just a minute. Can you see?
Yes.
Can you see the EC board?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Fine. Yes. Imagine this is the information's coming. Okay. Yes or no? Yes. Can you see?
And the screen is a bit blurred.
Blurred. Mm, I'll share it once more. Where is it? Okay. Fine now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is information A, this is information B, this is information C. Okay? Or imagine it is stimuli A, B, and C. And it is coming. You are about to explain the whole filter theory based on the processes happening. Okay? First, all these informations are coming, and here you have a filter. Okay? And the one that is passing through the filter is information B or stimulus B. Okay, so which information will you attend to? The B. Now I'll give prominent examples for you. There are two strangers, so S1 and S2, and your best friend walking past. Okay, you are walking on a road, and two strangers plus your best friend is coming across. Now this is regarding the visual sensation. Okay, and again what happens is, whom will you notice first, the strangers or your best friend?
Best friend.
Best friend. So of course your best friend's information, that is the one that is going to pass through the filter. It is just because the best friend information, the label that you have already had in your mind, you already know the person, you know how he or she looks, you already have an image in your mind about the person. Okay, so that information, when you see, when it relates to the sensory information, that is regarding the visual information that you got, that information passes through the filter because you already know the person. Okay, and that passes through the filter first. So that is the one you attend to. So you notice or you attend to the best friend first. Understood? So the information that manages to pass the filter is the one that we attend to. Okay. Yesterday we saw a picture of a lady who was reading a book in spite of all the noises happening around. Do you remember? When we studied selective attention, not yesterday, the day before, I think. Yes, yeah. What is happening? Okay, yeah. So that lady, when we consider that lady's case, then what happens is she also has a filter. Now, the reading information that is there, the noises from the man that is there, then the dog was barking, that information is there, then somebody was dancing and making noises, let it be n, all this information was there, but what she attended to was the reading. Yes or no? Because all the other information was blocked in the filter. Understood? Ashish, understood now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that is about the filter theory, and this is one of the classic bottleneck theories. For filter theory, who proposed filter theory? Amal? Hmm. Who proposed filter theory?
Ma'am,
Broad,
Ma'am, broadband.
Broadbent proposed the filter theory. Now we'll see the next theory. That is somewhat similar. It is the filter attenuation theory. Note down filter attenuation theory. This is just a modification of the theory that we learned just now. Modification of the filter theory. It was proposed by Annie Treisman in 1962. The Treisman, the spelling given in your textbook is Triesman. I don't know why, because we have learned it as Treisman, and I think that is the correct spelling. So I have given the correct spelling here. So note that Treisman, Treisman. Full name is Annie Treisman, 1962.
Ma'am,
Yes, Ashish?
one black screen is covering.
Huh?
A screen is covered by a black.
Screen is black. Oh, is it because of this? Fine? Fine now?
Fine. Fine.
Oh, okay. The video panel was there. That's it. Okay. Filter attenuation theory. This is a version of the filter theory of attention, proposing that unattended messages are attenuated, which means weakened. Attenuation means weakening, but not entirely blocked from further processing. Did you write down? After that, I'll explain. I'll read it for you. A version of the filter theory of attention, proposing that unattended messages are attenuated but not entirely blocked from further processing. I hope you all are writing in the lecture notes, so you can just write in bullet points. Unattended messages are attenuated but not entirely blocked from further processing. And attenuation means weakening. That's a new word for you, so note that word meaning. Attenuation means weakening. Attenuated means processed weakly. Okay. Unattended messages are attenuated but not entirely blocked from further processing. Finished? Okay. Now, so what happens? Again, let's consider the lady's case once more. Okay. This theory, filter attenuation theory by Treisman, this is just a simple modification of the filter theory that we learned. Just one thing we have to add is we had all the informations coming.
And
Then
the board is not shared.
wait. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
yes. So the reading thing is coming, then man, then the dog, then the noises from the dancing. All these informations are coming. Then what happens is there is an attenuator. Attenuator means something that weakens all these things. Okay. And the one, what happens is, this is just a basic picture, and there are different diagrammatic representations to explain this. I'm just doing this to explain the theory. Okay, you don't need not copy this down, copy the diagram down. If you want to, you can, no problem, because you can write the points in your own words and study, no problem. And what happens is, the information regarding the man, the dog, and the other noises, what happens is they are weakened. They pass this attenuator, but they are weakened. They become weakened. And this one, The one regarding the reading material. That is the one which has more strength. Okay. Sorry. R. So what this theory says is that in the other theory, in the filter theory, what we said is that there is a filter, but what happens after the filter? Only some information pass through the filter. Only some information manages to pass the filter, and the other ones are blocked there. But in this, what happens is all the information pass, but the unattended ones, they are weakened. Only the ones that stay with the same strength are attended to. Okay. In the other one, what happens is here we have a filter, and the 4 stimuli comes, only one pass through. Okay. But here what happens? All the information pass through. Some amount of processing takes place for all the information that is incoming. But the one that we attend to is the one which remains with the strength, with the higher strength. Okay. Others are weakened in nature. That is filter attenuation theory. So attenuator or filter. Attenuator acts as a filter, but the what happens to the messages that pass through it? Some of the messages are weakened, and the one that is important for us, the one that we find as important or very significant, that is the one that has proper strength, and that is the one that we attend to. Others are weakened. Okay, that is filter attenuation theory. So what is the basic difference between filter theory and filter attenuation theory? Yes, who can say? Anyone? Grishma? What is the basic difference between the two theories?
In the filter theory, only the selected ones are attended to. In the second theory, all the stimuli pass through the filter, but only the stronger ones are attended to.
Yes.
But all the stimuli go through some level of processing.
All the stimuli go through at least some level of processing. I can give you an example, a daily life example for that. When you go for a party or a function, you have so many people around you, and you have lots of noises around you. That means so much of information is coming to your attention system. And how will you decide what information you have to attend to? That depends on you. What is important to you, you will attend. Yes or no? Imagine you're in the middle of the function, you're having your food, or you're talking with your cousins or friends. Now, somebody from a distance calls out your name. Okay, there is loud music going on, there is loud talking going on, you're already engaged in some other talks, but you turn around when you hear your name or not. You do that or not? Yes. Yes. So that means besides all these information or stimuli coming, the one that was important to you, the name, your name is very relevant and significant to you. Yes. You need the name. When you hear it, you tend to be attracted towards it. You always attend to it. Yes. You look around for the person who called you. So that is called cocktail party effect. Please note that down. Cocktail party effect. COCKTAIL. Cocktail party effect. This effect means it is the effect in which the people have the ability to attend to some important information in the presence of loud noises or while in a noisy environment. So this is a proof of filter attenuation theory, because according to the theory, what happens? Some level of processing happens for all the stimuli. So for your name, for other noises coming around, some level of processing has already taken place. And since the name is important to you, you attended to it. Okay. And if we were considering this according to the filter theory only, then you would have only heard what your friend is talking to you at that particular moment. Okay. That is about filter theory and filter attenuation theory. Now we have one more theory remaining. That is also a very simple one. It is the multi-mode theory of selective attention. Note down multi-mode theory of selective attention. It was proposed by Johnston and Haynes. Johnston and Haynes. H-E-I-N-Z. 1978. According to this theory, that is multimode theory of selective attention, attention is flexible in nature. Attention is flexible in nature. And from the name itself, you can understand this multi-mode theory, which means there are multi-modes, different modes. There are 3 different modes or 3 different stages for the selection of stimulus and the selective attention. The first stage, have you written till this? The 3 stages? Attention is flexible. That is one point. It was proposed by Johnston and Haynes in 1978. That is another point. Now, the third point is selection of stimulus and selective attention. It happens over 3 stages. And then we'll see what the 3 stages are. The first one, what happens is, and you can write in the 3 stages, it is otherwise called early, middle, and late stage. Just like we learned the childhood and adulthood, early, middle, and late childhood, just like that, we have 3 levels of processing or 3 stages of selection of stimulus and attention, selective attention: early, middle, and late. We'll see what they are: early, middle, and late. Yes. At stage 1, that is the early stage, sensory representations, that is the visual image of stimuli, are constructed. Sensory representation, construction of sensory information, that is the one happening at stage 1. Construction of sensory representation. That is, if it is something that we see, then the visual stimuli, the visual image of the thing is made. That is, sensory representation is made. Now, at stage 2, semantic representation is constructed. That is, construction of semantic representation happens in the middle stage or stage 2. That is, giving labels, giving meaning to the stimuli, all those happens in the stage 2. Then in the late stage or stage 3, the sensory and semantic representations enter the consciousness. So in the first 2 stages, we had construction of sensory as well as some semantic representation. And the third one only, the sensory and semantic representation enter our consciousness. Okay, so stage 1, 2, 3, that is early, middle, and late stages. Then we have construction of sensory representation. We have construction of semantic representations. Then we have the sensory and semantic representations entering into our consciousness in the third stage. Okay, copied? Now, another important point is all these processes require mental effort from our part. Okay, whoever is attending to, whoever is the attender, whoever may be the attender, that person should put in some mental effort for this, for the 3 processes. So which stage do you think requires more amount of mental effort? Which stage would require?
Sensory.
The first one. Think. Put yourself in. Okay, wait. Let that question be there. I'll give you an example. Okay. let it be regarding the visual sensation. You are seeing a dog in front of you. Then the first stage, what happens is you see four legs, then the whiskers, the face, the color, then the ears, the tongue, the teeth, the nails, the paws, all those things. All those sensory representations are constructed. You still don't know what it is, okay? You just see it. You see all these parts. You see the tail. You see the fur, all those things. Again, in second stage, what happens is semantic representation takes place. Okay, there you sort the different names that you know. That is dog. Is it a dog? Is it a cat? Because it has furs, it has four legs, it has a tail, it has the whiskers, all these things. So you try to find its name. That is it a dog? Is it a cat? Or is it a fox? Or something like that. You search for the names, you search for the labels, you search for meaning. Okay, you search for some meaningful thing to be related to the one that you saw, to the things that you see. Now, in the third stage, what happens is you integrate both these representations. You have already seen the thing, you know some of the names, and you mix both of this together. And then you process the information, and this is put into your attention. This is put into your conscious awareness. So then you become aware that you are seeing a dog, and then only you can run. But all this happens within seconds. Otherwise, you'll be standing there trying to evaluate what is in front of you. By that time, the dog would have attacked you. Yes? Yes. So now you tell me which stage would take longer time, or which would require more effort. Not longer time, more effort. Think, think. Forget the
The
question about
last stage.
last stage. Aishwarya says it's the last stage. Who is for and who is against? What happened to Sana? Her video's off still. Yes, who is for and who is against? For hands. For those who are for, raise your hand. Grishma, Meghna, Elvina, Rena, Amal. Okay, those who are against, raise your hand. Anybody who wants to change the change the side? Ashish, you're against? Against? Okay, then what is your answer other than stage 3?
Earlier,
Earlier stage, the
first
sensor.
stage.
Why do you think the sensory stage is what the one requiring more effort? And the others, tell me, why do you think the third stage require more effort? Yes,
We want to identify the basic characters.
basic character.
So,
Okay, fine, fine. Then others, tell me. Amal, why did you tell it is the third stage? Don't know. Meghna,
For the sensory stage and all, we get to know that it has four legs, it's an animal, but we need to know which animal. So it's coming third stage.
Okay. Aishwarya, why did you tell it is the third stage?
Because in the first two stages, the information is already in us. We know what it is. We just have to choose between it. But in the third stage, we have to integrate the information that we already have.
Yes, it is similar to How will I relate this? Similar to making a curry, cooking a curry. The first two stages are like chopping the vegetables, starting or switching on the stove. Okay. And the third stage is like putting all the vegetables, putting the correct amount of spices, the salt, the seasoning, the sorting, everything should be correct. Otherwise, it will burn. Okay, Ashish? Yes,
Yes,
everybody.
ma'am.
That is how it happens. The first two stages we have we just have to construct the information. But in the third stage, it comes to our conscious awareness. Okay, you are aware of so many things. In that, along with that, you have to add this information also, which is very effort requiring process. Okay. Yes, so that's about the theories of selective attention. Then I'll show you one more picture and I'll stop. Where is it? Yes. Yes, this is something that we use in the psychology lab to test our attention span. Okay, it is called tachistoscope. What is it called? Tachistoscope. Tachistoscope. Some people tell it as tachistoscope. I tell it as tachistoscope because it is easy to remember. Tachistoscope. 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 In your textbook, I think you have it in a box in the extra information section. And the attention span, the number of stimuli that we can attend to, that is known as attention span. Okay. And it is, in general, we say it is 7 plus or minus 2. 7 plus 2 or minus 2, which means 7 plus 2. What is 7 plus 2? 9. And 7 minus 2?
5.
7 minus 2? 5. Okay. So our attention span varies from 5 to 9. 7 plus 2, it is known as the magical number. We learned that in memory, probably. Magical number. 7 plus or minus 2. Our attention span varies from 5 to 9. So we can attend to only 5 stimuli or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the range. Okay. And it differs from person to person. And in some exceptional cases, we have an attention span of 10 or 11 or so. And memory span also, it's similar to that. We learned that in the chapter memory. And this tachistoscope also has so many variations. We have an electrical tachistoscope. We have the one with the different images. We have the one with different cards that have dotted spots on it. You see the cards kept on the floor. Those cards are put inside this, and there's a screen just like a window. And the person who is attending to, the person has to, in one type of registoscope, the person has to say how many number of dotted images that did he or she see. That is how they test the attention span. You can Google it and see it in the YouTube also. I searched it, but they are long videos, so I can't show it in a class. Of course, we lose our time. Yes, so that's about the tachistoscope. Attention span is measured by an instrument called tachistoscope in a psychology lab. That is it. Any doubts about the theories? Filter theory, filter attenuation theory, and multimode theory. Learn the main points, the main concept. Understand it and learn. Don't learn it by heart. I don't want the exact words for the theory, but you have to be exact in the concept. You can write it in your own words, the theory, no problem. But don't change the ones who proposed it. Okay, that I won't bear. Theory, you can explain it in your own way, but don't change the name of the person. The first one was Broadbent. Second one was Treisman. Third one was Johnston and Haynes. Yes? Thank God. I used to forget this. Anyways, Yeah, that's about the theories. Any doubt? No? Okay, tomorrow we'll see sustained attention then. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, happy weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday. Monday. We'll meet Monday. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.